Okay, we are in streaming now. Jonathan, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jonathan?
Yeah, now I can.
You can? All right. So welcome here, Jonathan. Unfortunately, we don't have that great connection. Can you hear me?
Are we live?
We are we already live, but your image is bigger. Mine is smaller, but it's fine. It's fine. Is
Okay.
I'm you are the guest of this meeting, this conversation, so it's
Yeah.
fine. I'm just fixing the last checking if it's working. Anyway, welcome here, Jonathan.
Thank you. Grazie.
How are you today?
Oh, fine. Thank you. I've been following the Giro d'Italia because I'm super into bicycles. So every morning I'm watching a little bit of the Giro.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah.
Being in some kind of activity, sportive activity is always a good things.
Yes.
So listen, I'm invited you. We already met once just to decide this talk and to find the title that is Artists United for a Better World. And you also suggest give me your sentence, but I don't find it here, is è solo una questione di organizzazione. With
Sì, sì.
united small fishes that eat a big fish with that image, beautiful images that you are wearing in, your shirts on you the other day. So
Mm-hmm.
that was basically how we found the title of this conversation. And of course, because you are from New York, and we knew each other in New York City. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we are talking in English. And I know that you speak a few words of Italian, so maybe you like to say some things whenever you want to use some Italian words. You are welcome to do so.
See, it's funny because when I was in Italy, I would just usually just fall back on Spanish because people understand me. So, sí, si puedo hablar en italiano, diga algo, pero es difícil.
Difficile. Don't worry. Anyway, we talk in English is the international language, so
Mhm.
we may talk this way, in this language, and eventually, who want to participate or just listening, just needs to listen in English. So I was just to give a little introduction of this project, this idea of dialoguing with other artists. It
Mhm.
is basically started before the COVID time, before this pandemic. But for many reasons, I didn't have the time or the concentration to focusing on this project to actually start it. And during the COVID, the pandemic, the lockdown we had in Italy, but all over the world, I started to plan and to ask a few friends and few artists and people of the art world to participate, who wants to make a sort of a conversation about art, about the meaning of art, the meaning of being an artist today. Of course, the pandemic is a special time to focusing and to think about, no? Because many people in all area if everything stopped. And of course, most of the art system also, many artists, galleries, and all the activity, the social activity also stopped for most of us. And basically, we had also a chance to stop and to think at home in our studio, or work on our art, more concentrated on what we want to do. But of course, it's an important moment to start to rethink, or just to have a thought about the meaning of doing art today, at least for me. That's why I want to have this sort of a conversation, just to focusing on how the system of art has been so far, what has been during COVID time, which eventually, which ideas, which thought we have about the future of art, the future of art, the future of communicating, and also being able to dialogue with the spectators, with other people that like to understand and to be part of the art world, just to participate and be able to connect more. So I know you painting. We met in New York many years ago. Actually, we were working together for a while in the art business, and we had a chance, of course, because many artists also do other jobs during the activity, the artistic activity, and we met doing design, the kind of advertising. And it was interesting because it's interesting in New York because you have many artists around. It's a big community. It's a big community, and I remember, many friends to have a studio, like a beautiful loft in different parts, because that's how it works. Many artists needs to find big spaces, not too expensive, and the popular places, at least when I was there, was Brooklyn or Greenpoint, or the most affordable. Of course, many other places were Chelsea or Soho. So, Jonathan, you don't need to wait. I stop, because this is not an interview. This is an open dialogue of what I just said, what I just introduced, and this is just a conversation about what I said during this pandemic, this situation, about the meaning of being an artist. What do you think about what is your thought?
Well, I at the beginning of the pandemic, I thought, well, this is going to be devastating for the art world, and a lot of galleries are going to close. And but actually, in a way, the opposite happened. People bought more art than ever, maybe because they were stuck at home. And the people that I know who are in galleries say that that they sold more than they usually do. And also, they didn't have the expense of going to art fairs and flying all over the world. I myself sold more work privately than I usually do. So, in a sense, I feel like everybody talks about how the art world, all this technology makes the art world more democratic. Like Instagram, everybody can put their work on Instagram. Everybody can put their work online. But I feel like, in a way, the power in the art world is even more concentrated than it used to be. And I don't think the pandemic changed that.
Good. Well, I'm glad you have a positive experience. I'm glad you get the chance to make your work to be sold and to be more to move more be through. I don't understand if you did mostly through online or the old system, the old
You
clients
know,
were
both
buying.
both. It's sort of a mix of things. It was some online, or some like people who already own my work would see it online and then buy more. But I don't mean to make it sound like it's, oh, it was all so great. I mean, it wasn't, and it isn't for everybody, and it makes everything, you know, more complicated and more difficult for sure to have a pandemic. But I will say that right now in New York, the art world is pretty much normal, and maybe the only difference is that they don't have big openings with thousands of people or hundreds of people. But as far as the way the galleries are operating, and even the museums, it's pretty much normal now. So
Well, also because basically the pandemic is slowed down for the vaccine, and many
yeah,
people are. I mean, it's mostly slowed down the diffusion, no, the illness and the virus. So basically, we are going. Seems like the normality, the normal situation where people can go freely without the masks. No, people that got the vaccine and the vax, and so basically seems like things are going to the right direction. I mean, to more to the normality in that sense.
hmm I
In
mean,
general.
yeah, for sure. And I think things
Hopefully, hopefully,
are
hopefully.
I think things are maybe a couple months behind in Europe where they are in the United States, which I think is uh, kind of the opposite of what I would have expected. Um, but um, we're a little bit ahead in terms of the number of people who are vaccinated, and therefore the numbers of cases uh, are going way down, and so people are behaving more like they did before, and um, the art world is sort of returning to what it was. Um, and I know this is certainly not true with other art forms like performing arts, which, you know, are still really suffering.
I see. So basically, you're saying um, kind of kind of art that is using more like live performances, in you like dance or music, live music or theater, not like Broadway, for example.
Yeah,
Just showing
for sure.
something.
I
Just
mean, those things are not back yet, and they were completely shut down. Whereas I think that to be a painter, to be a sculptor, was almost the perfect thing to do during the pandemic, because you can just do it by yourself, and you know, and you know, so I mean, it's just a sort of uh, a bit, you know, a bit of a random thing, but the way this pandemic affected certain industries was not industries, and also art forms, was not equal.
right. Well, I guess so, because what like many other in many other also activities, some activities like tourism, for example, the kind of business that it's also more involved with the social, meeting, social aggregation of people suffer more, because if they close the like the tourism activities or business
Mhm.
in many areas like Italy, for example, Venice, and Rome, and many other places, they mostly live about like with tourism. They had to stop because tourism there isn't anymore. I mean, has stopped to move, and
Yeah.
many other activities in that sense. Other activities that also in the art field, like for example, movies business, no, using Netflix or other softwares that use to share, to sell, or to show movies. For
Yes,
example,
streaming. Yeah.
they made a big business in terms of people. Most of the time they were watching movies from home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess they got a lot of spectators, viewers. But
Yeah.
my idea is something a little more. I start to also discuss with you last time. My idea is more like made me think about the meaning of being an artist um, in our society, in our system today, because of course we are dealing of many things. We actually, I remember a little time, just a little before we were, I was in New York, I was working there, just a little before, just we were living already in the a bit of crisis for the finance um, crash and stuff like that. But a little bit after that crash, it was a little making crisis in the finance and the economy in the United States, but in the world in general. The big, the blue chips, that kind of stuff. It happened September 11, no, 9/11. So basically, after that, it already started a little bit with the situation in North Africa, in the politics, and all the fighting related to oil and all the interests about that kind of energy resources. But in a, in a, just a very, just out of the blue, let's say, New York was in the middle of the war because some terrorists attacked the Twin Towers, and we out of the blue, the expression that can be used out of nowhere, out of just in a situation that wasn't any of us, any of the people that were living in New York in the time, in the States in general, but also in Europe. I have to say, we didn't have a clue that could just happening a war and a war attack like it was in 9/11. So we just happened to be in that mess, in that crazy situation. That, of course, after I decided to come back to Italy, to move back to Italy, and for maybe 20 years, for two decades almost, just before the pandemic, we just had, we live during continuous attack of terrorism attack and all that mess, all that situation, wars in many parts of the North Africa, terrorist attack all over. So it was not also an easy situation even then. Of course, all these problems and also now the pandemic made me think, just as an idea of what is useful, the art, and what artists really are important for. My idea is to do arts that have some meaning, like for example in prehistory, like the man of the graffiti inside the caves, or all the tribal arts in all the prehistoric and pre-industrial countries or tribes that were community actually. They were dealing with art as a medium to connect people, like the community, and the spiritual, the let's say the connection to nature, to God, or to the all the nature, animals, and everything was around the people of the community. So in that sense, the artist we call artist, but of course it wasn't called the artist, because artist is just something new of in the history of the human being, a word that used as a
Well,
to indicate the artist. But no, just I want to finish quickly this point is that basically in that time, but also in the community, like we said, pre-industrial in the world, like in the jungle or other parts of Africa or the parts of the world, is still connected to nature, still connected to the community, still have a meaning that, from my point of view, the artists of the Western society, of the Western world we live today, consumistic, the like let's say the country more advanced, no,
yeah,
like we have
developed,
in
technologically
developed
developed.
technology developed. So, but idea that, from my point of view, in this moment, the artists that live in our society today have lost their connection to the community, even if they have a good selling, good market, good collectors, but they lost the connection with the majority of community, just
Well,
because
yes.
the people, yes, they go visiting exhibitions, museums, things like that, but they don't quite really, from my point of view, quite really get to, they don't really feel into. They still look of especially the visual art on something that is yeah, curious, maybe more curious about it, but not something that is connected in a way that they feel connected and represented by. I hope you understand what I'm trying to
Yes,
say.
and I have a theory about this
Mhm.
actually, and that's just that art is not a mass entertainment medium anymore. There was a time when the only way that you could communicate visually was to make a painting or to draw, and a lot of people were illiterate; they couldn't read, and so there really was no other way to communicate but through art. Now, art is a very it is a very sort of almost elitist activity, in a way that you know that some films could be, some literature could be, opera, you know, avant-garde theater. It's not a medium that most people really look at anymore. Um, most people don't go to galleries. Most people don't go to museums. Most people don't look at paintings or sculpture. Um, so there is an audience for it. Of course, there's a very uh, enthusiastic audience, but it's a small audience. Um,
Uh, yes, and unfortunately, unfortunately, I have to say this is the like I was trying to explain before, the end of what is the meaning, from my point of view, of the function of the artists, because art is a product. The artist is the kind of the person who actually act, do something, make
mhm.
something happen. That can be performance, it can be a painter, or can be a singer, whatever they do. And actually, if I'm comparing to the primitive or the primitive society, the shaman, no, was the kind of artist that was combining all forms of art, no, together, because he was dancer, he was singer, he was actor, he was a performer, he was a sculptor, he was a painter, he was everything in one, a magic man too. But what he was able to connect with the community, something that unfortunately, since the point that artists start to give their services for rich people, since the point that artists, and I'm talking about starting from the Egyptian or the Roman and Greeks, not now, I'm talking about the artists that start to put their services in the end, or just by the under the rich that were buying and paying money to make paintings, portraits. That's the basically sculpture, monuments. They basically was representing the power, no, the rich system. There was can be the king, can be the pope, can be any,
the Medicis.
Huh?
The Medici,
right? So basically, but unfortunately, we knew that most of those people, most of those powerful people, they were killers. They were making wars. They were making money on the life of poor people or the population. They were making their conquer their land or whatever they were doing. And unfortunately to say that those artists started from this my consideration to, even if today, of course, everybody is admired by Michelangelo, by Caravaggio, by even Pollock. Just to talk about something more new, recent. But in in this idea of art, no, I want to be a little polemic. In the idea of art, the meaning of being artists is something is like a mercenary. You know what is a mercenary? Mercenary, somebody that give is let's say prostitute, just to be more direct. But mercenary is the guy that who's making wars for some other people. No, mercenary. So it's mercenary. So somebody that is paid to do the job that he does, just to represent. So my idea is that since the art and the artist is giving all this quality, all this ability to create and to make art, servicing just the rich and the powerful people. Since before was the emperors or the king, then it was the church of whatever it was, if it was the Buddhist, of his Catholic, of his Christian, of his the other religion, until today that, of course, the power today, especially in the Western world, is the finance, the economy, the big multinational and that kind of stuff. So still today, and actually in a way that we can compare to in our system, in our today situation, where the speculation, the finances, for example, that is speculating on special art, not just to choose that kind of art to blow up in terms of value, just as a chip of the finance, now that just an activity of brokers that are in Wall Street, that is making money in that way. That's how they blow up the value of the arts made by special artists, like, for example, Jeff Koons, just to mention and the majority of the big shot we have today in the art system. But of course, if we go in this direction, more and more, normal people, the community that we live with, we share our life, are always more detached, are always more far from understanding and also interested to participate in this kind of expression that we call art. No, so that's my, of course, polemic, because just to say straight to you, my idea of art is just, as you know, the artist Joseph Beuys, no? Joseph Beuys.
Yeah, of course.
The artists that are talking to the society, the artist that is sharing ideas, sharing energy to the community, and is able to connect to the community, is the art that I like to think about, to feel in that sense, to work for. You understand?
Yeah.
Of course, is a choice that each artist can have his own idea, his own opinion. And I want to just give out another little word about to deal with an art form that, for example, visual art, sculpture, paintings, in the idea of the thinker Walter Benjamin, that was they wrote that book, Art in the time of in the time of technology reproducibility, like in terms of making that can be reproduced in many copies, just to be like the industry, just to be
that's what
sold in large numbers. That is also a way to make art more popular, more popular, like is the music, for example, because the music or the movie art works more in the, but especially music, because maybe cinema, movies is something more new, more of this just this century. But music is something that was existed before, just as just like the painting or like any other art expression. And with the technology, he was able, all the art, the music system, music business, to make somehow more popular, more spread in the community, and also more affordable, because you can buy a piece of music, you can buy a piece of an album of an artist, a musician, that doesn't cost you a fortune, and you can listen good music. So the idea is that, of course, I don't want to be the enemy of the art system. No, I don't want to be the enemy of the art world, because I still think gallery, museum can exist, and artists that produce for the collectors, they want to buy expensive artwork, can still work and do that kind of stuff. But I'm also thinking that for this community to be more also connected and dialogue with the community, I would like to think about an art that is also more possible to commercialize, and not just to make an only piece, not just one piece or few pieces that are very expensive for just few collectors.
That's the whole question of turning everything into an NFT now. That you can. So, which I don't really know how that works for me as a painter. I mean, I also have done some film-based work, and actually, I am talking to somebody about maybe making some of those. I don't know. It's a really hard thing for a painter, because in order to live as a painter, you need to sell them, and in order to sell them, to live by selling them, you need to sell them for kind of a lot of money. Otherwise, the economics doesn't really work. So I don't know, but I mean, so I guess my solution is to make paintings and then to also do some other works that are collaborative with other people. Like I mentioned this artist in Austria. We made a short film about pandemic architecture. And we made it during the pandemic by emailing each other clips, which we then edited together. And I think that that's something that is very public and very engaging with the public. But painting is a very almost weirdly private activity. It is for me too. My work is also very inward looking. So I don't know. I think it really, I try to do both.
Well, of course, is a good answer, good way. I'm just curious to understand with architecture, with this the collaboration you have with this artist in Austria. What is about? Because I don't understand what is about. Which connection
Well,
with
no,
architecture has?
we just basically we made a little film. I really should have sent this to you before we did this, but we made a little film about how the pandemic changed architecture and public space in cities, and specifically in the city of Vienna and the city of New York. It was an interesting little project, actually. I think it was pretty cool. And we're going to show it because we're doing a 2-person show there in Vienna in the fall, and
He's also a painter.
He's also a painter. Yes, he's also a painter, and so we're going to show paintings, but we're also going to show this film together. So.
So basically, I understood this a connection about architecture is a connection you want to create about during the COVID time, for what it was probably the idea of a habitat, the living area of
yeah,
people,
I mean,
no?
it's architecture in a very, very loose way. It's more like how the public space is used and changed by the pandemic. Yeah.
That will sound interesting. I'm instead of
I'll send it to you because it's a very it's pretty cool actually.
no,
So,
I'm curious. Sure. Oh, you're gonna send me this idea. Well,
anyway, we could probably we could debate these things for hours, I'm sure, or talk about how this. But anyway, it's a very. I mean, it is an interesting. It is an interesting question. Like, how do you make art serve the public when the art world is a very elitist world?
yes, of course, it's a very elitarian. I mean, that's how has been created, and since the, let's say, the Western world that create the art system, because mostly the art system has been created by the Western culture. Of course, in other countries all over the world, artists were working and create stuff for the community. But more the community, of course, was for rich people that could afford to buy and to spend money on art that, of course, was representing their power, their important, how much power and how much importance they had in the society. Of course, my idea, my feeling is somehow also to how much, let's say, how much moral, also ethic you have about the work you do. Because, of course, I can make beautiful art, great art, rich people can buy, but I wouldn't be that happy and that proud of myself if I knew that the collector who bought my paint, my art, my sculpture, my thing, is maybe a guy that make money selling weapons, or
Yeah, no,
making
that is
money
absolutely it.
making doing some weird whatever corrupted thing, you know. And unfortunately the society that we live is also this, you know, the community, rich people that made money somehow, you know. Of course not, it's very difficult to make a lot of money being honest and be in a good
Right.
ways, but the
Well,
majority of the rich people always, no, even the kings and emperors were making money, like we said. But I'm also thinking about the society where we are going to a situation, to a direction where we are killing the nature, we are killing the planets, the
yeah,
planet,
no,
we are
of course.
poisoning the water. We are putting no, for the consumistic world we are living, the max production of items, objects, whatever. We are filling up the whole world, and of course, which is how why the artist doesn't do anything. You know, in the moment of this, why only let's say few crazy people that are doing protests, you know, that we call Green Party in Germany or in Italy, or probably
Yeah.
activists that are moving because they want to protect the planet. Why artists doesn't do anything about these issues? You understand? I'm also thinking not only the way of selling my artwork, my piece, my thing, how to look better in a collection of it. I'm also thinking on how, which is the function of my art, uh, my idea of doing something good and positive for the society, the community, that is useful for something, not just useful for myself to be rich selling my art. It's not a polemic in
Yeah.
up to you
Well,
or general for anybody. But of course, it's a consideration that I ask to myself. Let's say, what is the meaning of doing art that is useful? Also, thinking on how life is going, in which direction is going today. No, the economy, the production, mass production, and we now spread also in the Asia, no, China, etc., that are doing mass production, and we are poisoning the whole world. The whole system is destroying because we need to do, no, the society in the production economy is going always to ask more and more energy, more and more material, and they make more and more damage to other community, other land, animals, nature, plants, etc., etc. Are we going to destroy we're going to this direction to destroy ourselves one for the last time? I mean, how we are start to think about and say, wait a moment,
so
this is
Marcello, I think I need to wrap this up soon, but we can continue this.
sure.
But yes, no, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, no, because it's not just a question of how the art system works, but also
It's
the
much
mean.
bigger than art.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
but not that. Not because art is somehow relegated to only something very just decorative or just beautiful to watch. It's something also about something useful for the community, and also to educate people how to look at
Yeah.
what we have around, how to look, how to behave, no, in for our life and our thing. I believe in this because there is nothing else, you know. No, I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in other way of change this culture and this mentality that we have in spread all over the world, that is
Yeah.
only going in one direction. That's
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I believe that the only hope, the only way to change something is about what we have in our DNA, just as the energy that art
Yeah.
and artists can create to just to educate and do something that is more important.
Okay. Well, at that note, if you want, we can reschedule another episode.
Definitely, but you need to find the way how to connect through Messenger, because in this way, with the software you used, it doesn't work that well.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, the painting on your back is yours?
No, the painting. This is a painting who was a good friend of ours who sadly passed away a few years ago. His name was Joe Heaps Nelson. So this is not my painting.
In fact, I was thinking it's strange because I haven't seen that kind of paintings in your
it's not
studio.
This is why I asked you, because I'm not in my studio. So.
Well, I'm in my studio where I work here. There is basically nothing, because this is the computer area. I have only a few pieces, but on this other wall. But maybe we do another time. We'll schedule another time, so we can share and discuss also about the work we do, and maybe go more deep inside a few other discussion, a few other problems.
Yeah, and maybe la prossima in italiano.
La prossima volta è solo questione di organizzazione.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, it was very nice having you and talking to you. Thank you very much. And so meet with you another time, and we'll decide when. All right.
Yes.
Take care. Take it easy.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.